Hello, this is James Cooke and welcome to another edition of the Pro AVL Podcast. Today we're going to be playing a conversation I recently had over Skype with Mike Diaz. Mike may be known to some of you from his time at Ultimate Ears. He's recently established the In-ear Monitor International Trade Organisation, also known as IEMITO. You can find details of him online and his organisation if you go to inearmonitor.org. That's In-ear Monitor, all one word. We discuss the organisation, his background and kind of trends that he's seen within the industry, particularly relating to business of in-ear monitors currently in Asia. So hope you enjoy the conversation, and here it is. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, James. Thank you for having me.
Why don't you tell us a bit about your career to get started? Obviously, I know you're currently the Executive Director of In-ear Monitor International Trade Organisation, or is it IEMITO?
Let's call it IEMITO for short. It rolls off the tongue that way.
How did the organisation come about, and what's your background?
I was the sales and marketing director for Ultimate Ears. I worked with Mindy and Jerry Harvey from the beginning, and I was actually able to watch the in-ear market grow from the back of the tour bus to what it is today. The goal of the organization is to bring together in-ear monitor manufacturers, dealers, suppliers, and end users to help shape the future of the global headphone market. The trade organization is a platform to aggregate the best and brightest developments within the in-ear space, and the website is a repository of unbiased information that acts as a directory for all the members.
Excellent. So what is the website? Where can people find you online?
Yeah, it's a simple URL. It's inearmonitor.org. Please take a look and visit anytime and sign up for membership.
Fantastic. So, what kind of really, inspired you to set this up now? Why is now the right time?
That's a great question. There's a few reasons for that. The first is that globally there are over 250 in-ear monitor manufacturers currently. When I started, there were less than 10. The market has grown, but at the same time, all the manufacturers are missing the bigger picture. They are all competing with each other, working out the same slice of pizza rather than on helping to grow the pie. We started the organization because the innovations made on stage reverberate out into the wider consumer electronic space. And we realize that more can be done with collaboration than with competition. We realize that by having an organization, we're able to start to set and affect standards, voluntary standards. We're able to provide unbiased information to the end users, and we're able to help all the manufacturers adhere to best practices.
So is there anybody kind of working with you on this venture at the moment? And are any manufacturers kind of working with you, kind of in a partnership or as members?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the best way to answer that question is to say that everybody is working with me for the same larger goal. We have Shure, we have Sennheiser. These global industry titans are on board to help see the success of this. The balanced armature manufacturers are on board to see the success. The Ultimate Ears, Westone, Jerry Harvey Audio, the very large in-ear manufacturers and the in-ear manufacturers who are just starting out are also on board. But what was critical to me when we started right out of the gate is that we focus on the international aspect of the trade organization. We did not want this to be a North American organization. We did not want this to be a European organization. It was critical to me when I started that it truly was global in its aspect and in its reach. And so we made sure to have QDC from China come on as a founding member. Stealth Sonics from Singapore come on as a founding member. Soundcat and Music Sanctuary as global dealers within South Korea and Singapore, respectively. It was absolutely critical that we represented all of the regions because, as you'll see as we continue this talk, all of the various regions are interconnected and play upon each other. If we were only going to focus on one part of the world, we would miss the true story of what happens within your space.
That's right. So obviously, I mean, you're American. Obviously, a lot of the manufacturers, sort of Sennheiser are European. But obviously, you've mentioned Asia quite a bit there. I mean, how's the Asian market kind of coming into play at the moment?
So, James, this is a really interesting topic, and it can be a conversation in and of itself outside of the organization. But let me try to paint the picture here. And I think that this is very unique and fairly different than what you're going to see in many other pro audio instances. I told you earlier that the innovations on stage reverberate out into the wider consumer electronic space. And I want to draw a metaphor to this. I want to talk about the Formula One racing, the development for cars, and as it radiates to the general public. Or let's talk about the development of the e-car racing and how we're going to see this continue to radiate out with electric cars. What happens in pro audio in North America and Europe with the top touring acts that are touring globally, the innovations made sonically end up with the consumers in Asia, specifically within Hong Kong and Japan. Those are the number one markets for custom in-ear monitors, not for pro audio, but for consumer. Now, this is a very interesting dynamic, and there are not concrete numbers, but it is safe to say roughly 50% of all custom in-ear monitors manufactured, both in Europe and the States, are sold in Asia to non-performers. These are $1,000 to $3,000 custom in-ear headphones, and they are being used for music enjoyment, for listening to music on the commutes, listening to music at home. There is that market for hi-fi portable audio, especially for custom in-ears, does not exist in the States or in Europe the same way that it does within Asia.
Wow, so sort of thanks to the help of the consumers, become kind of one of the biggest, I guess, kind of export locations for these products.
Absolutely, and I don't want to minimize the pro audio effect in Asia. Of course, you've got a top touring rental company such as MSI in Japan. You've got everything within the K-pop sphere and all of the studios and touring facilities in Japan. So there is a robust pro audio touring market in Asia and the Middle East that we don't want to neglect in this conversation.
So it's just about making sure kind of everyone's encompassed, no matter what it is they're using the products for.
In-ear monitors on a professional level are used globally, and there are global manufacturers, whether it is from based in Europe, based in the States, or based in Asia. So everyone is selling to the pro market. However, from a consumer standpoint, again, for custom in-ears and for the universal flagship products, and we'll touch on that in a second, again, roughly 50% of all ears sold are sold into Japan, Hong Kong, China, Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea. And this is really what keeps the pro audio companies, the pro audio in-ear manufacturers in the black and able to give the time and attention and care to the professional musicians. And the professional musicians, the innovation sonically help the consumer market, and the consumer market helps the pro side of it with the consumer attention to detail and perfection, right? What I mean by this is musicians and sound engineers will use these as tools. Consumers are using these as luxury goods. And so you can see this beautiful virtuous cycle where both are feeding upon each other. And the manufacturers are able to be held to the highest standards on both accounts.
I mean, obviously Asia's, kind of I guess described as an emerging market. So I guess importing that much is quite amazing. But I mean, what about on the export side? Obviously, kind of manufacturing, kind of in that side of the world is really booming at the moment. Are we seeing any impact, sort of anything from on that side of things?
Yeah, we're starting to. So there's two phenomena that are happening at the same time. The first, it already has its own term. You've probably heard this bandied around. It's a play on words of hi-fi. They call it chi-fi. So in the States and in Europe, people are scouring Amazon looking for Alibaba-like products that realistically are infringing upon North American and European intellectual property, and but they're being sold at a tremendous discount. And some people are, it's like digging through record crates, right? Most of the records aren't great, but every once in a while you find that jewel. So it's more of a very niche hobby to try to find the good chi-fi gear, and that goes for in-ears or portable players or what have you. But then there are also manufacturers such as QDC, Unique Melody within China, Fit Ear within Japan, Onkyo, who again specialize in serving both the pro audio and the hi-fi consumer, and locally, regionally, and now there's backflow where the hi-fi enthusiasts and consumers in the States and Europe are starting to buy those products directly. So my assessment is we will continue to see the rise of this. We will continue to see exports from very reputable, highly skilled and knowledgeable Asian manufacturers flowing product into the States and Europe at a significantly higher price point than the typical chi-fi gear that's available on Amazon.
I've certainly seen it from other electronics, just as a consumer myself, TV sets, laptop computers, coming from China, from kind of brands that themselves are quite reputable. I have a feeling a lot of these companies kind of started off as, I don't know, I guess almost like OEM suppliers, kind of supplying the manufacturer for other companies, but they've kind of now put their own label on it. They can sell this gear at kind of a fraction of the price. Is that some of what we might be seeing with in-ear monitors as well? Or are these kind of brand new companies from scratch?
No, they all have background in this. Now, so in-ears it's unique in the sense that most of the in-ears are handmade, which means that their lab is often based in the States or in Europe, right? In order to get a custom in-ear, it is not an off-the-shelf product. We actually need a measurement of your inner ear canal and your outer ear. So those are built to order. Because it is not mass marketed, there are not factories set up for OEM of the custom side. There is a gray area in the middle between an off-the-shelf product and a custom product when it comes to in-ears. They call it a universal version or a to-go version of a custom. So you see many of the companies selling a boxed version of a handmade product. Instead of being fit for the consumer, it comes with a range of comply fit tips that the consumer can then pick from. And in fact, there's a whole market of aftermarket tips just to serve this. This phenomena allows for, and again, we're talking $1,000 plus price points here. This phenomena allows the users to use and resell the in-ear so that they can trade up to newer models, whether those are also universal or, if they really like the sound signature that they're getting, the custom version of the same product. You see an incredibly robust secondhand market in stores in Japan, such as earphone, such as Music Sanctuary in Singapore, such as SoundCount in South Korea. You can go in there and you can resell an existing universal, and you can trade up to a custom or buy a new universal. I believe that in 2020 and beyond, we will see new innovations happening in the fit tip category. Again, blurring the line between a custom product and a universal product.
It's almost like a DIY custom job. Is that would that be fair?
I think you'll see some of this. I also think you'll see tips that self-adjust and find an equilibrium for a user. It's really interesting if you think about it. You can buy $1,000 or $3,000 product, and if it does not have a tip on it, it's useless. It's a funny looking paperweight. So again, the next innovations have to be around the tip for this to again truly move out of the niche space more into a friendly consumer electronics space.
Okay. So moving on a little bit, I wanted to discuss, kind of yourself as well. Just get you a bit more of your story, Mike. I mean, in terms of your background, obviously, you worked for Ultimate Ears. Was that your kind of first foray into the pro audio industry? Was there some background before that? And kind of what roles did you take at the manufacturer?
Yeah, that was my first with pro audio. Pro audio is not my background. My background is actual economics and horticulture. But I'm a firm believer that life is about who you know and how well you know them, and about saying yes to the opportunities that present themselves and seeing what happens. I love saying the best you can do is show up with a smile and suit up to do your best. And so I actually met Mindy and Jerry while working for their intellectual property attorney. I started off by doing ghostwriting for Jerry and some of the very early trade publications when the term in-ear monitor still wasn't locked in, certainly not in popular culture, but not even within the trades. So I did a lot of ghostwriting for Jerry. From there, it evolved into doing more business development, marketing, customer relations, artist relations. I left after Mindy and Jerry left, and I came back after Logitech acquired Ultimate Ears and worked the last 5 years for Logitech.
Right. Okay. So from there, kind of, so you've set up IEMITO now. Are you still with Ultimate Ears at all, or is IEMITO kind of your sole focus?
I do networking, coaching, sales coaching, and a lot of public speaking. And IEMITO is actually a wonderful bridge and platform for that. Again, if you really dive into what we do as the organization, we are here to actively promote the use and enjoyment of in-ear monitors. We do that by creating original content. We give a platform and a voice to sound engineers so that they can create teaching materials. We publish new product announcements from our manufacturers and our trade members. And we speak on behalf of the industry at trade shows and with members of the press.
Fantastic. So in terms of the kind of future, you mentioned 2020 and beyond. I guess you're maybe kind of looking to invest in in-ear monitors anytime soon. Is there any kind of trends they should look out for, or anything they need to consider as things move forward?
Yeah, let's say that 2019 was the year of the triple hybrid. We started seeing electrostat be introduced for high frequency bands. And so you would combine an electrostat with a balanced armature with a dynamic voice coil. So you have three types of sound tones happening within one headphone. I think we're going to continue seeing that. I think we're going to continue seeing the electrostat get more robust and louder within the product. And I think we're going to see comfort and fit take a new and more prominent role. Of course, we will also see introduction of DSP, of true wireless, and of everything that it enables with that. I think we'll see that peaking towards the end of 2020 and see that moving more into 2021. We're going to see a convergence of pro audio and true wireless continue to merge as the codecs get more robust and as the protocols get stronger.
Excellent. And before we sign off, Mike, just sort of once again, did you want to kind of plug where people can find you online? Do you have a social media presence as well?
Yep, in-earmonitor.org, the IEMITO organization, and all the social links are there. Anybody can get the content freely that's available on the website. If anybody wishes to become a founding member, if any organization wishes to become a member of the IEMITO, please, there's a membership enrollment form on the site. And if anyone who's listening is a fan of pro audio or of in-ear monitors and wishes to dig deeper and have even more access to the manufacturers, to the engineers, to be able to vote for the In-Ear Pioneer Award, also sign up for a membership. If not, just keep reading the site and please keep sharing it with friends and colleagues. If anyone who's listening would like to guest post and publish an article and has something to say about the future of in-ear monitors, or again about tips and tricks of how to best use and enjoy them, please get in touch with me, and we would love to feature and spotlight your own voice and story.
Fantastic, Mike. Thank you very much for your time and for joining us today. Well, I think we hope to hear more from you soon and to see IEMITO go from strength to strength.
Absolutely. James, thank you for the opportunity. I'm a giant fan of your publication. It's been a huge honor to sit for this debate. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mike.